A family that laughs together sticks together. That's simply because the light-hearted moments of sharing a good joke is an extremely powerful bonding agent. Humor helps families break down barriers, encourages us all to just relax, let go of our stresses, and simply enjoy each other's company. And that's what we're going to be talking about in this episode of the Raising Them Ready podcast for parents. Here we encourage and support parents who are doing the best they know how to raise their kids to become confident, capable, and kind in an ever-changing and often unpredictable world. I'm your host, Jonathan Catherman. I'm a family man, career sociologist, and best-selling author who believes our children's greatness tomorrow begins with good guidance today. In a recent study of laughter conducted at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, researchers were able to measure how sharing a laugh, and not just laughter in general, can bring great benefit to our relationships. Specifically, shared laughter signals that we see the world in the same way, and that perceived similarity ends up being an important part of the story of our relationships. Ultimately, the biggest benefit of families laughing together rather than poking fun at each other is the way shared humor strengthens our feelings of connection, support, and the bonds of love that unite kids to parents with corny jokes and parents to kids with their warped senses of humor. So in the hopes of bringing a smile to your face, I've invited my friend and fellow author, Rob Elliott Tiegen, to join me on this episode. Now, Rob's written a whole series of laugh out loud joke books that earned him the honor of being named one of Amazon's top 20 best-selling children's books of all time authors. One of the first short jokes Rob shared with me years ago, and then I shared with my kids, remains one of my favorites to this day, and here it is. What kind of tree can you easily hold in one hand? You think about it, and I'll deliver the punchline at the end of this episode, after Rod and I have talked about the importance of raising confident, capable, and kind kids who have a good sense of humor. Rob, you are a funny man.
Well, thanks. Some people would disagree with you, but I appreciate that.
I just think I'm funny looking, but you actually have humor. In fact, you write about humor and how important humor is in the home. I'm trying to do a proper count. Is there 9 joke books you've written now?
Wow. I get asked that, and it's funny because I never know how to answer because I've been doing this. The first book released in 2010, the first Laugh Out Loud joke book. And so they've done compilations, and we've done like Lift the Flap for younger kids. And so it's probably more up close to 20 now, if you include all the kids books, and we've got like lunchbox notes. It's crazy. We got everything now.
Everything from bad dad jokes, which are actually pretty funny, to, like you said, the lunchbox. Add jokes to the kids' lunchboxes. What a great idea. I love that.
Yeah, it is fun, and we've got even have a desktop calendar that we've been doing the last few years. It's been fun, and so yeah, just any great way that you can get some humor and some lightheartedness in your day and in your home, and to engage and have fun.
So does anybody ever like find out you're a joke book author and say, "Oh, tell me a joke"?
All the time. Yep. Like, give me your best. What's your jokes? Yeah.
Do you have
Sure.
a best? See, I'm going to do it too. I'm going to enter right into the fray and ask, do you have a best dad joke?
Well, I have a few of my favorites. So my all-time favorite that I usually go to is, what do you get when you throw a pig in the bushes?
I don't know. What do you get when you throw a pig in the bushes?
A hedgehog.
Okay.
So that's my favorite.
Hold on. Since you can see me, but the audience can't, I'm going to roll my eyes for all to hear. Oh,
Okay. Yes, you got it. You got to groan. I mean, the ones that you groan at are as fun as the ones you laugh at, honestly. So.
Okay, so that was one of your favorites. Which one do you hear people repeat back to you the most often?
It's funny that the booger joke seemed to be what's the difference between broccoli and boogers?
I don't know. What is the difference between broccoli and boogers?
Kids will eat their boogers. So I get that one repeated back a lot. I don't know why.
I wonder how they end up picking their favorite booger joke.
I don't know. I don't know what the parameters are for that. I just, I think kids. I don't go there too often, but you've got to throw a burp or a booger joke in every now and then, just to keep the kids engaged, or maybe it's to keep the dads engaged. I don't know.
But that was my feeble attempt at a bad off the cuff dad joke. How do you pick your favorite booger joke? Man.
See, that was good. That was good.
In prepping for this conversation, though, I did a count of how many dad jokes I have. And I realized that there's a theme to most of the dad jokes I tell, and they're almost always about umbrellas.
Really?
Yeah. The problem is seldom do people laugh at them, and I think that's because the joke goes over their head. I'm
Okay.
trying.
All right, I got that one. I got that one. So
so bad.
that one didn't go over my head actually. So maybe I've been doing this long enough, you know?
Well, I write about life skills and you write about humor and connection. How in the world did you decide that you were going to bring, the focus of your work to helping families laugh more? Why is this so important that we smile and laugh as a family?
You know, it's funny. Sometimes life opens up doors, and you're doing it for one reason, or think you're going one direction, and then it's got such a bigger, broader purpose than you even realize. And so, my background, I've been in publishing, worked for the publisher that you were published with, and
Yeah, that's how we met.
yeah, and I've always been love corny jokes, and that's I'm always fun dad. I love doing stuff with my kids and that kind of thing. And but initially I was just trying to fill a space for a customer, and I went to an editor at the company I worked at the time and said, hey, do you think we could do some a joke book? And she kind of said, oh, I don't see why not. What were you thinking? And do you know somebody who could do it? Do you want to try it? And at the time, I thought, well, sure, I'll try it. I had been in publishing long enough. I thought I could do this. And so it ended up that I got the jokes for that first book was every night at the dinner table, my family would sit around and we would either make up jokes, or the kids would bring jokes from, school, and we would try to, do the thumbs up, thumbs down. And I think, I think that's why people connected with that first book so much, because I really had a test audience every night, because my youngest was 6 and my oldest was in, I think ninth grade, early high school. And he contributed sometimes. I won't say he
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 probably
loved it.
groaned more often than had an original.
Exactly. But I did have this awesome kind of organic test audience and it changed the fun at our dinner table. And it's to the point now, we've done it these last few years, and I still get texts from my older kids all the time when they think of a joke. Or my wife is I created a monster in her. She sits and at night we'll be sitting in bed talking and stuff, and I'll be like, what are you thinking about? And she'll be like, I just came up with a joke. But saying that, I have to say the letters I've gotten, the emails I've gotten from parents that have said, this book got my kid reading. My kid struggled to read, but it's been so fun, and just the confidence booster it is. I always tell people that really it wouldn't matter if my name was on the books or not, because once the kids open those jokes and start telling them, and mom and dad are laughing, and the brothers are laughing, the sisters are laughing, the grandparents are laughing, they become the star of the show. So there's just something special about when we laugh together and enjoy our kids that way, because it does build their confidence in ways that you don't realize. So the joke book started in one way, and it's just become so much more than I would have ever imagined. So it's fun.
Well, how could it not have taken on a life of its own? Some of my favorite memories of the family is when we're laughing together.
Yeah, absolutely.
To have the smile plastered across your face. Like you said, you can do it right at the dinner table, telling a 1 or 2 liner joke that makes half the table roll their eyes, the other half the table spit water out their nose.
Yeah, for sure. And I like to say, kids love me, parents hate me, because we have these little books full of 500 or 600 jokes that they can tell each other in the car, on road trips or at the dinner table or whatever. And so after about 50 to 100 of them, the parents are like, why did we get this kid this book again?
Your books have been bestsellers, particularly around holiday seasons. You make amazing stocking stuffers and easy gifts to give for a birthday party. There was a point one Christmas where you and I were battling back and forth for the number one best-selling book on Amazon. And I think for a period there, I had it for a minute, but you won out.
Yeah.
Let's go back a little bit because you've got 5 kids. How have you seen this affect your kids as they've grown up? This whole theme of humor in your family.
I think we've just over the years doing that, we maybe don't take life quite so seriously, and it just wakes your brain up to look for opportunities to laugh and smile. And I think, in this day and age, more than ever, we need that, because our lives are busy and our schedules are busy. And sometimes we try to figure out, how do I carve out X amount of time for each other? And quality time is important. Quantity time is important, but I think sometimes we forget that there are little moments we can do, even in the car, just telling jokes with each other at the dinner table and that kind of thing, to connect and leave a conversation or leave a room with a smile on our face rather than stress or that kind of thing.
So many families today are struggling with that balance between the stress of life and raising kids that can often bring into the family frustration. Not that the kids do, just mean raising kids isn't easy.
Mm-hmm.
And rushing around between sports practice or music recitals or dance or clubs or camps, or it feels like there's just a lot of tension often. One of the things I loved about when our kids were little is just watching them be naturally funny, and they didn't
Mm-hmm.
even necessarily know they were doing it. I just sit back and laugh, and then that slowly dissipates kind of over time as they grow up, and feels like things get more stressful. So for you to be able to provide an outlet for that by literally cracking a book, parents, here's what I recommend you do: go get one of Rob's joke books and put it in the back seat pocket where your kids kick the seat with their feet. Just slide that book in there, and every now and then, to the reading level, have them pull it out and tell you a couple jokes while you're driving the car. Sure beats them just being on a device silently behind you as you drive somewhere. Rob, you've got 2 different pen names. Your actual name, right? Rob Tiegen. But then you have Rob Elliott is where most of your joke books are. So if people are looking for joke books, they're going to be looking for Rob Elliott as the author name, right?
Yeah. So the first book I ever published was the joke book, and then my wife and I started doing family resources together as well a few years later. And so for some reason, she didn't want to be Elliot, which is my middle name, is what I used as my pen name for that, for the jokes. And so yeah, now I've got two split personalities going.
When you have multiple books for families that you've written both on your own and with your wife, and that they would find under Rob Tiegen.
Yeah, and I mean, this is kind of the ethos of what we love to do, and that's, I mean, create practical resources for families. So even the first book that my wife and I wrote together was a date book for dads and daughters, with full of 88 ideas for dads to take their daughters out and connect with them and have fun with them and create memories. And so that's what we do. So whether it's jokes, whether it's conversation, it's staying connected.
88 date.
Yeah. 88 great daddy daughter dates is the title of the book.
Do you have a favorite your kids made you laugh experience?
Oh wow. Well, going back to the date idea, I remember I took my youngest daughter out, and we were going to go for a bike ride, and we were going to or ride our bikes, through the trails down to our little town, get some ice cream and go down to the lake and have this fun experience and these great memories. Well, we started on the bike trail. They had all the road because they were doing a bunch of construction. So we ended up we tried to go around, and then we found ourselves on busy roads. So we ended up biking all the way back, and we were about halfway to the downtown. So I said, well, throw the bikes in the car and we'll drive down and we'll bike, so we did that. Then we went down to the river down by the ice cream place, and she cut her foot, And I mean, we just had thing after thing after thing. And so, we're walking back and she's like, Dad, I got to tell you, this is not one of your best dates that you planned. Um, but I love that because it's like, again, it was about, we look back at that and we laugh, and it wasn't a great, scenario. Nothing went as planned. But we still created memories. So my kids are always, yeah, keeping me humble. They're always, kids are great at, pointing out your faults in fun ways, and reminding you and humbling you. So that's one that comes to mind.
Well, the time spent together is the most important and valuable thing. And there's times where, yeah, you're right. There's bad traffic and cut foots and the day didn't go as planned. And other times where we just laugh and have a blast together. But we can remember both because we spent time together. And purposeful time, not occupied time. I see a lot of families spending occupied time together, meaning their time is occupied by something else.
Mm-hmm.
So they may be in proximity to one another, but they're not doing something together. The worst case scenario is like when you're at a restaurant, you look over and here's a family eating, but everybody's on a device. Everybody is on a different device. And they may be enjoying food, but they're not enjoying time together. Or, next time you're at an intersection at a stoplight, just look over to the car to your right or left and see if, how many people are actually engaged, while, waiting for that light for turn from red to green. If they're talking to each other, if they're enjoying time together. The time spent with our kids is limited. It really is. And if we aren't purposeful in our pursuit of them, and not to helicopter over them by any means, but to create that time together that's memorable, so much of it is completely forgettable.
I was talking to a friend recently, and she said something that just kind of knocked me over. She said, 18 summers. That's what you got with your kids, 18 summers. And, and it's like when you put it in that perspective, you realize how limited that time we have with our kids is. And you're absolutely right that I think we have to be so much more intentional, because I think with our phones and our computers right at home, and so many of us are working from home now, and um, there is something to distract us from having meaningful connection, and laughter, and taking advantage of everyday moments all the time,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so we can even have good intention to spend time together, and then we get our phone buzzes and we pick it up just to answer a text, but next thing we know, there's a news thing that comes up, and and before we know it, an hour, 2 hours have gone away, and it's time for the kids to go to bed. And and I've been guilty of that too many times. But I'm always reminded how easy it is to get distracted these days from what's important.
yeah. Our family has a little bit of a dark sense of humor, and so half the time we're saying something funny, but it's followed by too soon. Too soon.
Oh
So
yeah.
something bad just happened, and one of us has a joke about it. And it really, there has been many times that it's helped lighten the moment, the load, whether the pain just occurred or and sometimes it's years past. In fact, Cole just said a joke the other day that we all looked at him and groaned. He goes, "What? Too soon?" Well, the incident was years ago, and it was like he scratched that, but it was pretty funny. When we lost our dogs 2 years ago, we lost two dogs within 10 days of each other, both from old age, and I took the second dog to the aftercare. They have all these fancy words for this now. And I'm driving back and I'm talking to Erica on the phone, and I said, I just left Maya and with the care. And she goes, honey, Maya died 10 days ago. You just dropped off Bailey. I said, well, I told him it was Maya, and I had given him the wrong name. I had done all this wrong information. I had to turn the car around and go back to the facility and correct all the information I gave him because I was grieving so much. Well, I came in the door and, I'm still crying. I'm emotional about losing our second of our favorite dogs. And the boys met me at the door, and they both looked at me and they give me big hugs and they looked me straight in the eyes. And my son says, I'm Cole. Yeah. And our other son was like, and I'm Reed. Just reminded me of the names, Too soon, Dad? You forgot the names of your dogs. We gotta remind you of the names of your kids. I think humor can
Wow.
help lighten those loads sometimes. And I think sometimes we just shouldn't shy away from it because our kids can be really funny really easily. And we got to just laugh about it. It makes the moment
Yeah.
better.
Life brings stuff our way, and life has its stressors, and we can go through it, frustrated, disconnected, annoyed, and sad, and those emotions sometimes are appropriate too, obviously, but humor in and throughout it, helps us get through it together, and reminds us that there's always laughter around the corner too, as much as there might be some stress or pain or whatever. So
Well, and we should steer towards that laughter as often as possible. We need that release in our brain. We need that release in our face. I love the feeling of my face when it hurts from laughing so hard. It's like my cheek muscles are like, yeah, give me a break. Just give me a break. Not to mention my abdomen's like, you haven't done a lot of sit-ups lately, so you got to stop laughing. You're hurting us both here. Got any jokes you want to share with us? I mean, I'll trade you. Let's do some joke trading. How about that?
okay, sounds good.
All right, you want to go first? You want me to go first?
You can go first.
Okay. These are adulting jokes, because our kids are at that adulting age. They're not really like knock knock jokes, but how about this? Your kids are adulting when they used to have a bedtime, but now they tuck you in and just go back to whatever it is they were doing.
That's good. So most of mine, like I write jokes mostly to like what, 6 to 9, 10, 11 year olds. So
Yeah.
mine, what do penguins use in science class?
I don't know what.
Beakers. Beakers.
Oh, man.
I know, it's great, isn't it?
Okay, I'll trade you back this one. This is, again, adulting. Kids want the freedom to act like adults, but adults just want to have a snack and take a nap.
Amen.
Yep.
Amen.
Yep.
I love that for that one. What is a gardener's favorite game?
What is a gardener's favorite game? I don't know what.
Tick tock grow.
Tick tock groan.
No, just grow, not groan.
Tick tock. I'm gonna groan. That was a groan.
I know that was a groaner.
Let's see. At the end of each of our chapters in the Raising Them Ready book, we put in some just joking quotes or jokes or comments. How about this one? Kids would be a lot cooler every time they shouted "Mom" or "Dad" if they'd followed up with "You're awesome" or "Thanks for keeping me alive."
I love that. Speaking of, just a side note, I think my 12-year-old is on his third time through your manual to middle school book that you sent him. First of all, I think thought it was cool that you signed it, but that book is like, oh, okay, what am I navigating through? It's been amazing for him. So,
well, thank you.
That's just a side note. But can I give you my favorite knock knock joke?
Please do.
Okay, knock knock.
Who's there?
Billy, Bob, Joe, Penny.
Billy, Bob, Joe, Penny, who?
Seriously, how many Billy, Bob, Joe Pennies do you know?
None. I don't know any.
Well, exactly. I'm at the door. Like, I mean, come on.
Oh man. Okay. This is terrible. I'm doing myself a terrible injustice. So in the manual to middle school book, we wrote our jokes, and then on the bottom, you have to flip it upside down to read the answer.
It makes it harder for you to.
Okay, you ready? I got one for you.
Mm-hmm.
What has 1 foot on the right, 1 foot on the left, and 1 foot in the middle?
I don't know.
A yardstick.
Good one.
3 feet.
I don't think I've heard that one. So
I tried not to steal any of your jokes. You got another one for me?
yeah, I've got one. Why did the fish go to jail?
I don't know. Why did the fish go to jail?
Because he was guilty. Guilty.
Oh.
Gills. Fish have gills.
Yeah. Okay, here you go. A cowboy rode into a small western town on Friday. He stayed 2 nights and left on Friday. How could this be?
Riddle. Oh, riddles. Those take more than humor. Those take smarts. So I don't know. Usually not good at riddles. I don't know what.
The cowboy's horse was named Friday.
Ah, it all starts to make sense now.
Riddles.
So how can you see your garden in the dark?
How can you see your garden in the dark? I don't know. How can you see your garden in the dark?
Plant a lot of bulbs.
Oh, man. I'm even a gardener. I should know that one.
Yeah, I did that one for you, man.
Oh, my goodness. Not joking. Do really appreciate you spending some time with us. If people want to find out more about your joke books, they need to look up Rob Elliott. They want to find out more about your parenting and relationship and marriage books. They need to look up Rob Tiegen and your wife, Joanne.
Yeah, so the easiest way to find Rob Elliott is go to laughoutloudjokesforkids.com. And the easiest way to find our items to connect your family, marriage, parenting, and all of that, you can go to growinghometogether.com.
And you also have a podcast.
We do, yeah. Growing Home Together is the podcast.
And you can find Growing Home Together podcast on all the major podcast platforms.
Yes, or you can go to growinghometogether.com, and we have it there as well.
Excellent. Okay, take us out with one last joke.
Oh, one last joke. It's got to be a good one then. What do you get when paper towels fall asleep?
I don't know, Rob. What do you get when paper towels fall asleep?
Napkins.
Oh, napkins. Oh.
As I tell you, the groaners are as good, like I said,
man.
It's all about laughing and groaning.
Okay, take that one to the dinner table with you tonight, parents. Hand out paper towels to everybody as napkins. And as you hand them out, say the joke.
What do you get when paper towels fall asleep?
Napkins.
Napkins.
Yeah. There's your dinner joke right there. All right. Rob, thanks so much for spending time with us on the Raising Them Ready podcast. And I really do appreciate you. And we'll be giving away some of your books. So hang on here and I'll tell you how to do that. Look forward to seeing you in person, I hope, soon.
All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
That's great, man.
Take care.
You. Parents, I really do hope you and your kids are finding something to laugh about together every day. If you need a little help cracking a smile on your faces, just head over to Amazon or into your favorite bookstore and buy the entire series of Rob's Laugh Out Loud joke books. They're affordable and a great way to give the gift of laughter to your kids and family. Now, as promised, here's the punchline to one of my favorite Rob jokes. What kind of a tree can you easily hold in one hand? A palm tree. Get it? A palm tree? Yeah, all right. I'm not so great at this. I also promised I'd give away one of Rob's books, so head over to the Raising Them Ready podcast on Facebook or Instagram, follow the page, and message me your favorite joke. The first 10 people who share a joke that makes me laugh and that I can repost will receive a copy of Rob's Laugh Out Loud joke book. Well, again, thanks for listening to this episode of the Raising Them Ready podcast. To learn more about teaching your child about the life skills and personal resilience they need to successfully launch in life, be sure to pick up a copy of our book, Raising Them Ready. It's available wherever you buy books. Also, check out our other best-selling life skills books for tweens, teens, young adults, and personal development titles for parents, educators, and mentors. If you're interested in booking me for an upcoming speaking engagement, parent enrichment, or professional development workshop, you can contact me through our social media pages or email me through our website. You can find, like, and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Raising Them Ready Podcast or on our website at raisingthemready.com. Also, please follow and leave us up to a 5-star review wherever you are listening to this podcast. If you have questions about this episode, comments, or suggestions about parenting topics you'd like us to bring to the Raising Them Ready podcast, I really do want to hear from you. Simply contact me through our social media pages or website. Again, we're easy to find on Facebook and Instagram at Raising Them Ready Podcast or online at raisingthemready.com. Now, thanks again for joining me and Rob Elliott Tiegen in today's discussion about raising confident, capable, and kind kids who have a good sense of humor and regularly laugh out loud. Now, parents, go and enjoy the day, knowing your child's greatness tomorrow begins with your guidance today.